Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel with absolutely no theme. I want to try out a foundation. That is the basis. However, I have 3 to pick from. And I don't know if I'm going to do the newest NARS Light Reflecting Foundation or the Dior Forever Skin Glow or the Dior Forever. I think it's between these two. I just want to see if they're still as good as people said they were like 2 years ago when they came out, or they reformulated 2 years ago. I'm not sure. I think they came out before that, but they've been like cult favorites. A lot of people have loved them and I hear really good things about them. So I kind of want to check if they work as well on me, you know what I mean? Because what works for others doesn't always work for you, and sometimes with trends, especially on the internet, like on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, like all of those, not Facebook, I don't know why I said Facebook, but sometimes a lot of people say that it's good, but it's almost like everybody works really hard to like it because everybody says it's good, you know what I mean? Does that make any sense? I feel like it does. I'm most excited for the Skin Glow. I don't know why, but I feel like glowy, I want it to be summer, you know? I always get in those moods in February. Is that how you say it? February? I have a hard time with that word sometimes. It just like gets stuck in my mouth and it won't come out. I'm doing Skin Glow. I got the shade 2 Warm Olive. Looks darker than it looked on the website, I will say that. I tried to go in to see if they had testers of this, but they didn't have this shade. And on the other shades that were more neutral, it looked like it was a good shade, but now looking at it, I think it's a little bit dark. But I'm just gonna bring it down my neck and I just want to check. Oh my god, that is hard to get off. I don't have any primer on right now, which I should probably put in. Fingers crossed on the hardest it goes to good to be true, can pick my eyes off you. Fingers crossed and the Holy Ghost can take my eyes off you. Are you my somebody? I did 3 pumps. The last one wasn't a full pump, so like 3.5-ish. Put my primer on the way I usually do. Sometimes I use a different primer as well. I use the Makeup Forever Step 1 primer, the gray one, to like help with the pores and stuff. I don't know, that's more for like specific occasions I use that. It's not like an everyday occurrence. So we're gonna try this out. It's a little dark. I would obviously, if I was supposed to go out and like see people in this, would probably either wear a really tall, like high neck with long sleeves, or because this is going to suit me absolutely perfectly in like a month or 2. But right now it's a little dark. It's not a summer shade dark, but it's a little dark. So far it's looking pretty good. I like to swipe my foundation. I know a lot of people say they absolutely don't do that, but I like it. I feel like I don't get as much product on it. I feel like it suits my skin better. Didn't up here. I'm not gonna fuss with it too much. I'm just gonna let it like stick and see what happens. Not a lot on my nose. I'm going over with the other edge just to kind of pick up any excess and see what happens. I don't know so far if I love it. I don't dislike it by any means. It's looking a tiny bit makeup-y in these areas, but that could, if I just leave it, sink in nicely to the skin. So I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt and I'm just leaving it. Maybe I'll just show you like my first impression now and I'll wear it tomorrow and see how it wears. So I need to find myself that crew neck then. And especially if you have a foundation that doesn't 100% match you, or if you get like red ears, definitely with like the excess on your sponge, like just hit the ears a little lightly so that they match the rest of you. I feel like I just picked it all off. So far it's laying down a tiny bit patchy, a little bit in this area. Okay, I need to stop obsessing and looking at the tiny details and just like kind of move on and see how it does, because I wouldn't be nitpicking like this normally on a day-to-day basis. I think I should just leave it, let it sink in and see what it does. I'm gonna put some concealer on and I'm gonna use the Luminous Silk Concealer from Giorgio Armani. I want to see how it reacts with it because this is my favorite concealer. I absolutely love it and I made my sister buy it. You know, that's just proof that everything doesn't work the same on everybody, because she was not as in love with it as I am. She doesn't hate it, but doesn't behave exactly the same on us, if that makes any sense. Like, it doesn't do the exact same things because, you know, our skin is probably a little bit different, so then it does a little bit of a different thing on her than it does on me, which is natural, you know. That's why it's so important to maybe find somebody who reviews products or you like to watch that has a similar skin type, maybe undertone for foundation recommendations, and you know, if they find a brand that does a good, because sometimes you can find a brand that does your undertone well, if you know what I mean. I'm sure a lot of people know what I mean. But like, if you find somebody that does your undertone really well, because that's important. The undertone is almost more important than the actual shade. Sometimes it can be really, really make it or break it. Like if it's a tiny bit off, it's fine, but like if it's really, really bad, because then the shade, if the undertone doesn't match, the shade has to match really, really well. And I feel like if you got the right undertone, your shade can be a bit off and it's gonna look fine as long as you blend it well. Funny, I could pick them in a lineup. The concealer so far laid down beautifully. You can't see any seams, it didn't behave any different. They almost like meshed together really, really well. Something is itching me right here. I don't want to get rid of the foundation. It has a scent, but it's very faint. And then I'm just gonna powder that down like I normally would with my translucent Laura Mercier powder. Okay, so that's with powder on. The glow kind of went away, but I think it's gonna come back because it doesn't feel that set. Here, I don't know why, but this area on me doesn't really set ever. Okay, I would honestly say being set now, it looks really good. It looks a little powdery, but that's obviously the powder. It looked a little powdery before, like a little, I don't want to say it looked detectable on the skin because it didn't really, if you weren't up close and like nitpicking and trying to find like the littlest things. I don't know why, but I have something on my face that's tickling me and it's really frustrating. Maybe I can just like try to wipe it off. Okay, maybe that actually helped. I don't know. I don't know yet. I'll notice it. That's kind of what it is. I'm going to put a little bit of the rest of my face on just to see how it reacts to like, what's it called? My bronzer, my blush, that kind of thing. Like if anything weird happens when I do that. And I'm going to use products that I obviously know well and know that they work. So I'm going to go in with my Hourglass Trusty Dandy bronzer. Doesn't look like I've touched it, but I definitely have used it a lot. It's the Nude Bronze Light from their ambient lighting bronzers. I'm gonna use this one. Does it look close up? Did it move anything? No. Okay, that went on beautifully. Oh, it didn't move. Lovely. Ooh, it's boding well. Boding well. If this sits well, I might have to get a summer shade. You know what I mean? Like I might just have to. Pretty soon I could pick them in a lineup. I hate when I sit down like this and it's just like quiet and it's me and my brain and I have 300 songs on my mind. With my eyes shut. Or just one. And it just keeps going. It's a loop. Oh god damn, not another rockstar. And I can't really think of anything else and I can't really do anything about it. It does kind of really look like skin because it's really letting some of my like little dots and breakouts kind of show through a little bit. I think I might have gone a little heavy on the bronzer, but that's fine. I always bring what's excess, like what's left on the brush, down the nose just to define it a little bit. Same with like under the lip. Love that. It sat beautifully on the skin. This doesn't feel quite set, like right here, this area, but it never really does. I don't know why. Do I just put less powder there? Like I feel like it just like eats the powder and it's like never fully set. Blush. What do I do? I think the foundation is supposed to be glowy. I think I'm gonna go with like a matter. That looks so dark in the camera. They are quite dark, but they're not that dark. I'll see in the editing process if it looks... Sometimes it looks way darker on the viewfinder than it actually does when I then put it into my editing software. Sometimes it isn't as bad as it looks on here. I think I'm gonna dip twice there and then 3 times in that one, so I'm like kind of mixing them. I'm just gonna dot them on. Looks so stark right there. It doesn't at all look like that in person. I'm gonna see if I go over it with a powder brush, if it helps in the camera. It did make it a little bit more seamless, did it not? Even after I did all that swirling and puffing and all of the above, my foundation didn't move. I'm not pushing, don't get me wrong, but I think that's great. Actually, I'm gonna bring some Hourglass powder because I usually do that. My nose is itchy. I usually bring some Hourglass powder, like a powder like this, like their setting powder. I'm just picking it up on a fluffy brush like this, and I just wipe it across certain points of my face. I think I talked about this in my makeup favorites from 2022. Maybe not this palette specifically, but Hourglass in general. I had a lot of Hourglass powders. They're bronzers, they're holiday collections. I think they're so pretty and such good value for your money. Probably one of the best values for your money out of most collections that get released around the holidays, makeup wise, that is. And then I'm gonna do a little bit something quick on my eyes, and then I'll come back, I think, because it's not a part of this. And if whatever I do you like the look of it, just tell me down below, and then I can show you what I did or what I used later on, because I just kind of want to keep this more towards the base and more focused on the Dior Forever foundation, because so far it's looking good. So far it's looking good. It's looking a little detectable right now, but I think as soon as the setting spray comes in, I think I might be a happy gal. So I'm gonna do my eyes real quick. Okay, so I did the eye look from palettes I already have, and I love to use palettes I already have because I have a lot of them, and I feel like I need to use them a lot more, and I just need to utilize what I already have, you know. We can't buy new all the time because, well, maybe you can. My wallet can't. I feel like that blush kind of went away a little bit, so I'm gonna go in with a tiny bit of this blush instead from the Ambient Lighting Edit in Universe, which is supposed to be the light one, I think, but it has a darker bronzer than the dark one. I don't know how they thought about that, but I think I've said that before, so I'm gonna ignore it. I'm putting on more blush because I like the look. I'm gonna put some highlighter on, I think, because I went kind of full out with the eyes. I wasn't going to. I was gonna do something very simple, but then, you know, I saw this lid shade. Doesn't have to be a lid shade, but I saw that shade and I was just like, you know what? I kind of want that on my lid. I know I did too much blush. Lovely. I gotta even it out because it was more on the other cheek than this one. But I'm mixing in a little bit of this just to like try to tone it down in color and make it not so pink, because I think it's fine if it wasn't that pink, but I feel like, oh my god, I look crazy. But yes, anyways, I'm going over with this one. I would try to tone it down and blend it out real well. Oh, that actually worked amazingly. This is a really cheap brush as well. I love it. I've used it like 3 times, should be said, so I don't know. I might fall apart completely. But it's not a really cheap brush. That is actually a lie. But it's not an expensive brush. That is not a lie. Everything is relative, I should say. Didn't tone it down that much. It's still a lot of blush. Still a lot of blush. And I'm going to just go over it with my powder brush. Hopefully there's some powder still on there and it can tone it down a little bit. It did in person. Not on camera. Not on camera. Okay, I see you. I see you. Panicking a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. I'm just gonna go over it a little bit with the beauty blender that I have foundation on, which is probably gonna fuck this review up a little bit, but I overdid it. I'm sorry, I don't know. And then I'm going over it with this again. I just poked myself hard as in the eye with the brush. Okay, I think that helped a little bit. Anyway, I feel like it's really sharp right here. Okay, it's a little better. I want to put some highlight on, so I'm going to. Simple as that. I'm going into this highlighting shade right down here from that same palette. Oh, it's really glittery. I think I noticed that last time I used it too. It's beautiful, but it is a little glittery. And don't tell me it's glittery because the palette is old, because I bought this a month ago. 2 months ago. Two and a half months ago. So it had never been open up until that point, even though I know it's from like last year's. It's from 2021's. Yeah, it's from the holiday collection of 2021 for Hourglass. But I only bought it this winter, this recent winter, because, you know, I didn't know about it until now. I'm going to go in with this that I bought for a bride makeup kind of thing, and I kind of want to test it again with no liner because I feel like the eyes are speaking for itself. And this is the Isadora Twist Up Gloss Stick Moisturizing and Lip Filler, apparently, in the #1 Toffee Pop. And it was very hydrating. It has a little bit of a weird scent, and I don't know what that is or why. That's a beautiful nude. It's actually really good. I really like this. This one, I did a TikTok and also shorts video about it. I'm not going to talk about it again. But that is the look. I'm going to go up a little closer so you can see the skin. And then I'm gonna put some setting spray on and we're gonna see if we see a difference. Get your fans ready. The trick is to not look up before you've dried your lids, because if not, you kind of just wet all that shadow and then you close, like open your eyes and then you like make it, you almost set it in a crease. So don't like open your eyes until your lids have fully dried, and don't keep them fully hard closed. if you've already put mascara on, because I find that to be the best way to do it. I have to switch hand because I got freaking tired. I think it's dry almost entirely. Now I'm gonna do another up close one and you'll see if you see any difference. I got a little bit of mascara right there because I closed my eyes and then I realized that I shouldn't do that because I had mascara on. It's just been a while since I wore makeup, so I forgot. I think I really like it. I need to look up close after that. Ooh, yes. Oh, I definitely like it. I need to get rid of that bit of mascara, but otherwise, it's kind of patched off a little bit at the tip of my nose. You can see right there, kind of showing through some redness right there. And I found it wouldn't really stick right there. I don't know why it did that. It's not looking bad by any means, it just looks like my skin is shining through a lot, and in person the tip of my nose just looks a little red, which is fine, like it's not a problem. It's just something that I noted. It looks a tiny bit powdery right here and a tinsy bit like weird right here. That might be my skin at the moment though, because it's specific spots, it's not all over. And there's nothing there that it's clinging to. I think this is clinging to something because I found that the skin right here is kind of dry. I don't know why. That's something I noticed. I might try to wear it tomorrow, and if I do, I'll probably just do like a check-in at the end of the day and tell you, hey, this is how it wore. I'm not sure if I'll be checking in during the day. I might check in like once after work, but not more than that, because I find that it's not that helpful if nothing has happened. If something happens and it starts like patching up and, you know, then I'll probably, you know, film it and tell you. But if nothing happens and it seems fine, then I'll probably just do a check-in after work, and then once I'm gonna take it off and tell you like at what stages throughout the day it started doing certain things, if it did anything or if it didn't. You know what I mean? So that's gonna be it for me. This is the look. Tell me if you want to see the eye look, because I really like it. So let me know. This blush is like a lot. I mean, the blush is the first thing to fade, so like it's fine. It would go down. But so far, a pretty good thumbs up. I think I might really like this. It depends on how it wears. It depends on how it wears, and I think I might really like it. I'm not sure if it's like, wow, it's the best foundation I've ever tried, because so far it's not beating my Luminous Silk from Giorgio Armani, but it's a big contender. It's definitely a contender so far, but we'll see how it wears during the day, and then I'll let you know what I think. Okay, I think I'm going to show you a little bit more like close up and more natural light. I think I might look a tad bit shiny throughout the day, but we'll see tomorrow. We'll see tomorrow, and then I'll make my assessment then. So far, I'm a little bit hesitant, but it also could be really good. It depends on the wear. Okay, so this is not day 2. That's 4. This is not day 2, because it's not the day after. I think it's maybe 3 days since I did the other one. I haven't tried it again until today. I put it on like maybe at 11 today, sometime there, 11-12-ish, and it's now, what clock count? Oh, and it's now 11 at night, so it's been on from 11 to 11. And it's doing pretty well, I would say. Honestly, I'm very pleased. This was there before, and it's covered it up, and it stayed that way. It looked this way this morning, and it still is looking that way. We have a little something coming in here, and it's still covered. It's not shining through, other than being a little bit red. It's maybe come off a tiny bit here and there around the nose, because I probably rubbed it, but I don't think it's bad at all. Today, around like maybe 2, 3, I started to notice how it had kind of separated a little bit right here, and I kind of patted it over and it looked fine again. So maybe I just need to be like more careful there, or powder more. Maybe I could solve that. I don't think it looks cakey anywhere at all. I was afraid, because it was a glowy foundation and I have kind of combination to oily skin, that it was going to look really shiny. But honestly, this bit of shine that's right here has started to come through maybe in the last 2 hours, which I don't think is bad. I think that's pretty normal for me. And you can kind of see my eyeshadow has creased, but it hasn't creased anywhere on my face, the foundation. It's sunken in a tiny bit right there, if you can see when the light shines on it, but this is very mild. Like, that's nitpicking on very small details. I thought this blush, because I didn't really love the pink, I was like, it's fine, it's gonna fade. It hasn't faded. It's literally looking about the same as when I put it on. I completely forgot to film when I put it on, or show you the way it looked in the beginning of the day, but it looked the same as when I put it on in, you know, the first impression thing at the start of this. It looked the same as then, so just imagine it like that, and then this is it now. So it's a tiny bit shinier. If I just took like a blender and did this, it's gonna go down. It's like gone. Doesn't look shiny anymore. Not in that way, at least. It still looks glowy, but not shiny. A little bit around my nose. Like, you could easily fix it, and this is still a good amount of wear time. I know it says 24 hours, and I honestly think that you could wear this for 24 hours and it would probably look okay. Don't do that, please. But, like, you could. The makeup on top of it has held up really, really well. I can't say this blush would normally fade. I just assumed it would, because blush usually fades quickly. So this is my first time using that as well, so I can't tell you if it was the foundation that helped it to last longer or if it was just a blush. But if you've noticed the same thing, please tell me. Like, that would be amazing if it made the rest of your makeup last really well as well. But I think it's kept covering up everything pretty good. It stayed nice throughout the day. It's looked good in pictures. I haven't looked in the mirror at any point of the day and been like, oh my god, what happened? It's looked great, so I'm honestly really, really happy. It met my expectations, I will say that. I'm really, really happy with that purchase. So if you would like to try it, and if you've thought about trying it and you're like, hey, this is in my budget, because that is to be said, it's not exactly cheap. It's Dior. So if you're like, hey, this is within my budget, I've thought of trying it, I don't know if it's that good, I honestly think it's really, really good. And if you want to spend that penny, I think it's definitely worth it if you're looking for a great foundation. If maybe you have really, really oily skin, like heavily oily skin, then maybe there's a matte one, which is the Dior Forever, which I haven't tried yet, but I'm really, really pleased with this one, and I honestly really recommend it if you thought about trying it, because it's held up really, really well. I think it blended together with my concealer beautifully. I think it went all seamlessly. Sometimes I feel like I have to go back in with a little to like perfect the edge with certain foundations, but they mixed really, really well. So strongly recommend that combination. But it's worn up a little around the nose, which the amount of times I've touched my nose or like done this, I honestly don't think it's bad at all, because that's the only part of my face that I really end up touching if I have makeup on. But yeah, I'm really, really pleased, and I highly recommend it. So that being said, that is gonna be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, like the video. Very, very few of you that are watching are subscribed, so if you would please just press that button, it would help me out so much. And thank you so much anyway if you just watched. But if you do subscribe, it's free and you can unsubscribe whenever you want. But that is gonna be it for me. Thank you so much. I will see you next time. Bye. Party!